Oh, what's up, everybody? Dakota Drake 4 coming back to you live from the man cave. Unfortunately, I'm stuck here with my asshole partner in crime, Rattlesnake. What's up, Rattlesnake?
What's up? It's Chairgatin coming at you live.
Hello, come right in.
Rock, flag, and eagle.
Hey, what a perfect intro. Oh, man.
Here. Dakota's taking over this one. He's going to host this entire.
I'm taking he's handing over the helm. I'm steadying the ship. We got this thing rocking and rolling. Darlington, too tough to tame. We just had the throwback race. I can't imagine what being there was like because I was so bummed and jealous seeing all the stuff people were posting, seeing all the schemes, and I was like, why the hell am I not at this race? Like, why are we not at this freaking race?
This race is giving me the idea that I think maybe like next week or sometime we need to do our top 5 favorite races to attend.
Ooh, that's a good bit.
That'd be a good topic, right? Maybe for like our Thursday episode. Because I'm pretty sure I don't want to give things away, but I'm pretty sure this would be like 2.
Yeah.
I love Darlington. As you can see, I got my favorite race shirt, the tie-dyed Darlington shirt.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah,
Gypsy tents.
I'm rocking a little swag myself.
Yeah, I see that.
Something I picked up. Man.
We got that Iron Maiden shirt. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, that's also another one I need to cop.
Yeah, I know. I actually kind of want to get that for the Austin race.
Ooh.
I know it's coming up though, so I might have to get like the quick ship for that.
Yeah, you might have to do like the overnight with that one.
Right, exactly. It's getting a little close.
Man. Oh wow, Nathan. Just I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say right here. Oh man. All right, Chairgatin, post Darlington. What a race we had. Yeah, Nathan, you definitely need to. And for everyone else watching, pop the merch, get your shirts, get your swag. They fit extremely comfortable. Like I'm like, man, I can
also
rock this out to dinner.
Once you're done getting a t-shirt, stickers, whatever you want on our store on TeePublic, go purchase a Yeti cooler. No big deal.
Oh,
just go purchase
stickers, hats, swag.
Just go purchase like a $300 cooler.
Yeah.
Because they're the best coolers. Let's be honest. Everything else is just kind of like a ripoff. You know, it's like there's other stuff, but they're all a knockoff of Yeti. Like it's become so synonymous. Yeah, it's like oh, that's like a Yeti. That looks like a Yeti. So we are brought to you by Yeti. Yeti sponsors the show. Because they're fucking crazy, I guess. I don't know why anybody would sponsor the show, but at least if you're watching this on YouTube, it should be in the description. There's a link you can click. If you purchase any Yeti item through that link, it pays us, and we like to get paid. So,
dude, I need to I got me a couple Yeti cups. I need to start drinking Yeti like margaritas on the show or something.
So that's what I was thinking too. Like I was like, man, buying a Yeti cooler like through our link, what's the odds of that? But then I was looking, I was like, but they have the cups and they have like smaller stuff.
Shit, like keychains, little cups, big cups.
Right. Yeah. So me and my wife are decked out right now in Yeti.
Just Yeti earrings, Yeti shades, hats. Oh yeah. Now we need to get some Yeti shirts. Oh man. Where do we want to kick this thing off? Dude, I'm just so mad I wasn't at Darlington, but God,
I know. Shout out to the garage guys. They got to go.
Garage guys.
I was talking to Chase about it. I know.
I texted him a little bit, and he was just started sending me videos, and I was like, dude, I already said I was jealous. Leave me alone.
I know. I texted him. I was like, dude, that's all me and Dakota have been talking about. We're so bummed that we missed out. I usually don't have that. What is that? Fear of missing out or whatever? FOMO or whatever it's called.
One of the FOMOs.
No, never heard of that. Okay.
One of the FOMOs.
I usually don't experience that because usually I'm just like, I don't want to be there. That sounds terrible. Like a birthday party or bachelor party. I'm like, that sounds. But when it comes to NASCAR races, I'm like, that's when I'm like, oh fuck, I'm missing out. I'm just scrolling
literally because all the races getting crammed right here in the stretch. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna miss Darlington this year. Won't be a big deal. You know, I'm going to some other races down the line. And then as soon as like schemes started coming out and it was all the throwback hype on social media, I was like, man, I kind of wish I was going to Darlington. And then
I will say, in the last episode, you were like, Harvick's going to come out with a throwback. And I was like, I don't think he is. It's so late because we recorded on like Wednesday or Thursday. I was like, it's so late in the week. Usually they like to promote those things. Last second, you were right. He rolls it out. Dude. And it was a good one. It would have probably made my ranking.
I was telling the boys, I was surprised how they kept it under wraps so long. Like, and then they started teasing it. I
don't know why
Friday.
They did that.
They released a teaser on Friday where it was like all 3 SHR cars, and then it was like Kevin's and the garage door never opened, and you were like, oh shit, yeah, like what is it? And then like Saturday morning, I remember someone sent it to me like it was like a blurry image, like Kevin's throwback, and I was like, oh my god, we were talking about like it's been 20 years since he started. I wonder if he'll like commemorate one of his own schemes, and I'm so glad they did, which was cool.
Right.
Definitely gonna get that pre-order. And then I was waiting.
That probably would have made my top 5. I was gonna post both of our top 5 like favorite throwbacks, but once I saw the Harvick one, I was like, well, now I can't because I think it would have been on both of ours and kind of fucked up the whole episode.
I liked a bunch of them, but that one was close to home. Man, I was waiting. I was like, well, what if he wins? I want to get the race version. So I was like, oh, you didn't get the win. So now I'm like, definitely getting that pre-order. Can't wait.
I probably could have told you that.
Oh well, we'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that.
But man, Truex put on a clinic, dude. Truex, start to finish. I mean, we'll get into what the race was here down the line, but Truex put on a full-on ass whooping, as he said, crossing the line. It was classic Truex. It reminded me of kind of the Furniture Row days. Matt Black car just taking all the stage points, taking the finish. Larson gave him a little run there at the end. I thought we were going to have they touch. I thought we were going to have one of those moments where don't quit posting his comments.
He's our resident Truex fan. I have to give him this one.
Shout out Nathan. He got another dub. It's looking like another good year for Truex.
And yet you still can't lead in points, which is something else we'll get into.
Oh, I mean, Denny was right there in top 5 all tape, man. Denny's doing everything he needs to do.
He has been, yeah. Kyle Busch, we mentioned this in the last episode. I think I brought it up. I was like, this is going to be a race where it either shows Kyle Busch is like back and he's competing again this year, or he just falls off completely.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
So what's your takeaway from this?
Well, first off, I was like, Kyle Busch starting up front, deadly. Momentum from last week, deadly. And I was like, ooh. And then I think he got a little damage early on in the race, hitting the wall. And like, I thought it looked a little fishy the way he just kind of lost it and spun and saved it on the apron. But it is what it is. He spins out with a flat right rear, pits, fixes right rear damage, goes to the back. It was like 40 laps later, he was in 6th after like.
It reminded me of old Kyle Busch.
Yeah, and I was like,
that's what I'm used to seeing from Kyle Busch.
He's already back up there. I was like, oh shit, and he hung right there in like top 2 and 3 and 4 the whole race, and I was like, man, we get one wild restart here, or we get something late. I was like, Kyle Busch is going to go for this.
He could have snuck in there. Yeah, I think you specifically said in the last episode that either he'll get in a wreck, be outside the top 20, and nobody will talk about him. I think you even said, or he'll be in the top 3. So good call on that.
Kyle's looking good. He is. I mean, Kyle's looking pretty good. And
when he ran all the way back, it literally reminds me perfectly of like old Kyle Busch, because that's what he used to do. You would be like, oh, he's out of it. There's no way.
He get a penalty with 20 to go.
Right, and you're like, there's no way.
And
then next thing you know, right, exactly. So this reminded me of old Kyle Busch quite a bit. And so I think to answer our question last week, I think the win has kind of, reminded him of who he is, giving him that confidence back.
He's definitely starting to look more like a contender, not like is he going to get a top 10? It's like, how many top 5s and wins is he going to get this year?
Right. How much more wins can he get? Because I think he was talking about confidence. I know that was a big thing that they were discussing, and they were talking about, even though it's Kyle Busch, like people still suffer from lack of confidence if they don't do well for a while. And so I really think that they were right about that, because last week he gets the win, builds up his confidence again, and now I think we're seeing old Kyle Busch a little bit more. Not quite to the extent, but
I'm like right here about to slap the KFB's back button. Like as soon as he get I remember that race. It was bullshit.
We need an actual button. I think we need buttons.
Dude, we need to get a slap button. Like
we'll have them for back. Like Harvick. We'll have
we'll get a little bell or something.
Right.
But yeah, man, I like Truex got his 3rd win. We still only have one guy with multiple wins, but I think we're about to start seeing some more guys click off wins out of who we're seeing in the top 5 every week. The wins are going to come for a lot of these guys, and now I think those playoff points are going to start getting more crucial.
Well, talking about that, William Byron.
Dude, Willie B,
top
like,
tens in a row.
if the son of a bitch could like have a little more swagger, a little more suave, I could be a Willie B fan.
All right,
dude.
here's the deal. You and Chase were tweeting about this, and you were like, "Oh, he's got that dad swag." Blah blah blah. He was playing fucking golf. All right,
Dude,
he's at a golf
okay,
course.
well,
you have to
I'm not
tuck
gonna
in your polo.
No, I look pretty rad when I play golf. I don't dress like a dad.
You don't play at the courses he plays at. I guarantee you gotta dress exactly like
cool
he
golf
dressed.
swag, and I'm not judging the guy too hard, but I was like, Willie B, like, go to the gym or something. Jesus Christ.
Well, yeah, he's not that type of kid.
Yeah, he's kind of just a little nerd boy, and
I think you have a better chance with Bowman to go to.
He has a sick car, sick paint scheme, sick merch, and I'm like,
yep.
If he would just like maybe if Willie B would like get in a fight on pit road or like
he's never gonna do that.
Wreck somebody. I need some pizzazz. But Willie B is showing some extreme speed. I think it's that they made that switch to his new crew chief. What's his name? From the truck series, and he's knocking these top tens off.
Mm-hmm.
Willie B is definitely emerging as
he's becoming the driver. I think
possibility.
Yeah, I think he's becoming the driver people were kind of hyping him up to be when he got that ride, and we were all kind of like, "How's this going to work out?"
Yeah.
Because we had young drivers before him, but he was the first driver I can remember looking like he's like 14 years old.
Yeah,
and me being like,
he
shouldn't be.
I think he was
in a cup car
when he started.
But he looked 14.
Yeah,
and I remember even my wife was joking like, this little kid should not be in a cup car.
No,
and now it's kind of a thing. You see a lot more.
I would have liked to see him get a couple seasons in trucks, couple seasons at City.
Yeah,
but he was dominating. Like literally, almost he would have won the truck championship, but he blew a motor at Phoenix or whatever. Man, like it. He was so hot shit, and they were like, "Just move him the cup." And then it's like, dude, Cup's a different animal. It's almost, I mean, this can be a little maybe offensive to people. Almost reminds me of a little Joey Logano. Takes a couple years to get going, kind of trying to figure it out. All of a sudden,
when you said this could be a little offensive to people, I was very nervous what you were about to say. But what you said should not be offensive to anyone. You could see the comparison. Yeah,
I'm saying like now he's turning it on, and I'm definitely expecting him.
He doesn't drive like young Joey. I mean,
no, he's just
patient, like just the path is what you're saying. Like a young guy that kind of got thrown into it. Yeah, and that's what I've always said about Byron is he's so young. Yeah, he's in top equipment, so like I understand the expectations, but he's so young. And I was like, we need to give this kid some time.
He's in his fourth Cup season, third or fourth. I'm like, what the hell? Where'd these years go?
Right. I think this is about the time, and I think we're seeing that now.
Yeah, I'm definitely could see him getting a championship in the next couple of years, or I don't want to say this year. I'm not gonna jump the gun. He's looking hot, but I think it takes some maturity and some huevos to get in there and get the cup
I wouldn't say this year, but I agree. I mean, I've said at least for the past 2 years I could see William Byron being a championship driver, and I think when he first came in, I was in the camp of like 3 seasons. We got to give him 3 seasons to kind of get used to everything, and then in that fourth one, around that time, it's like that's kind of the do or die if you're not proving it. But I think he's proven it kind of all along the way. I haven't really stopped and been like, he doesn't deserve that ride. Like I've never kind of questioned it.
I mean, dude, another thing is like the 24 is back. 24 is flexing in the Hendricks camp. I mean, he's the most consistent. Everybody's wondering why Chase ain't won. Chase is going to get some wins here, and people are going to shut up. But he's definitely. Well, I mean, you can't deny Larson, but Larson's so like.
Well, now that Larson's
40,
there,
he's either going from 40th to first, or Larson's like running 15th. But Willie B's in the top 10, top 5 every race, every track we're going to. It's like, dang, dude, I'm liking what I'm seeing in that 24 camp. Yeah,
I mean, speaking of Larson, I'm pretty sure it was stage 3 when he got that speeding in pit penalty. And I texted you because I was like golfing. So I'm like watching the race while I'm golfing. And next thing I see, I pull it back up and he's back in second with he's like 4 seconds behind or something. But I'm like, wait, he's back in second? And I was confused. I was texting you like, what happened?
And it made such a classic good ending to the race. Even though like there was no action, no pass for the lead, but Larson gave him a run for his money. Truex was spanking the field the whole day, and it was I was fine with it. I mean, even for Truex, I was like, it's a good old fashioned ass whooping. Truex is killing it.
Well, he's really good at this track. He had a great equipment. I mean,
the car was
what are you going to do?
But then they do their last cycle green flag stops, and he passed Kyle Busch for second before the stops, and then Larson was like 4 seconds back or so, 3.5, and they came off, and Kyle Larson was like a second behind him, and you were like, oh shit! And Truex was catching lap traffic, and they kind of just kept it in frame, Larson moving and running them down, and the perfect thing. They keyed up Martin Truex audio, and Martin Truex goes, "Is that him right behind me?" And they're like, "Yeah, buddy, go." he was kind of in chill mode, just keeping the lead.
Right.
I'm trying to take this thing home, and he looked in his mirror, and Larson was right behind him, and like you heard the panic, and Truex like, "Holy shit!" And Truex takes off, and Larson makes this badass move with like 10 to go into 1. I'm sure everybody's seen the clip, but Larson is hunting Truex down, and Truex gets around 2 lap cars. And Larson just sends it in. I think it was Reddick and Newman. Sends it in between them, middle of 3 wide, going into 1 at Darlington. And Clint Boyer even hints at like it takes a lot of something else to make that move in 1 and 2. And we all know what he's talking about. But it was like, dude, that was a badass move. Especially these cars, the way they were handling, sliding, slipping all over the track. It was so sick to just like, dude, we're about to have this is a dogfight for the win here. There was one moment where Kyle Larson dove it under him in 3. But killed his momentum, and Truex just pulled away. But it was a good race for the win.
Yeah, the way Clint Boyer described it was pretty good. He said if you meet Kyle Larson, you don't think he's going to have the balls to pull off a move like that. And then you see him race, and you're like, oh, shit, I'm way off. Clearly, he's a ballsy driver. I mean, he's definitely a driver you can't count out, especially at a track like Darlington. He was my pick at the last episode. That's my lock of the week. I still feel pretty good about that because he did drive well. He still has not got a win at Darlington, oddly enough.
Well, it's clearly going to come.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I think he's only had like 1 finish outside the top 10 at Darlington.
I wouldn't know what to say about those stats. I don't have my stat sheets pulled up.
Well, either way.
Speaking of top 5.
Larson made it fun.
Speaking of top 5, Gibbs is starting to kind of take charge of this season and show their strength. Well, at one point, they had all their camp in the top 6. Christopher Bell late with like 3 to go, blew a tire. He was running 6th. Denny was in the top 5 all day. At one point, hunted Truex for the lead. Truex dominated. Kyle Busch 3rd. Gibbs was definitely showing out on some 1.5 speed. Hendricks was trying to keep up. They were right there, but I'm a little scared. They're pulling away in these win columns. Nathan was biting his nails. He's got to go.
Yeah, I mean, is that really anything new though? Like, if anything, I feel like this. I've seen them dominate even more than this.
I'm just saying, out of like we've had all these different winners. Who's going to kind of stand out as a powerhouse? Is like Gibbs starting to pull away in the win column compared to some of these other teams. Yeah,
but I don't think that's really anything new. I think the only thing new is Stewart-Haas is usually up there with them.
Well,
and
you're a son of a bitch.
What's going on with that team?
Oh man, so like
I think RCR is probably looking better than Stewart-Haas.
Oh, for sure. Like we can talk about this every week almost, but it's like you can't keep making this shit up, dude. Like when I literally and some of my bets I had Almirola is like, man, he's got some top 10s here. Maybe he's going to turn it around today. He's going to get it going today. And Almirola is the first caution, folded it in like on lap 10, 15 or something. And it was like DNF off the bat, dude. It was like, dude, hang it up. Like this season's a wrap, bro.
I know.
It's fucking over. And look, he's going to need a win to make the playoffs. It's like he ain't winning the playoffs, dude. It's over. Wrap it up. Shut the door. Shut the shop. Maybe next year or go find something else to do. I feel so bad for Almirola, but I'm almost like it's hysterical at this point.
I don't know. I've been hearing about the Almirola thing, like if he's gonna be on the team. Maybe there's more news than I'm aware of that I just haven't heard. I don't understand why Almirola would be booted from that ride. But maybe there's some more stuff I haven't heard.
I think maybe Smithfield's what's keeping him in that ride. And
of course,
money talks. And, everybody's kind of like, yo, why is Almirola in this car still? What are we doing? But it's like, well, Smithfield's paying the bill. But then I'm also like, how much is Smithfield going to put up? They got a long-term investment in him, so I don't know.
Who are they talking about replacing him with? Is there like
I don't know. At this point, Riley Herbst is looking like a solid pick. As terrible as he's running in the Xfinity Series, I have no idea. I mean, maybe they could pull a wild card over there. Maybe pull somebody from another team. Maybe pull an Xfinity guy who's looking for a shot, put him in there. I don't know, but I think his contract ends this year. Like if it ends in a contract year.
If it ends this year, there's not a good year for his contract to be up. I will say that. Yeah. This is the worst I've seen him perform.
And right behind him, like 2 cautions later, was Cole Custer getting screwed at somebody else's mess and hits the wall in the same spot, folds it in, and it was just like, well, there goes half the Stewart-Haas camp as they were already running bad. It was a bad day to be Custer and Almirola. They are so far back in the points. Briscoe, the rookie with no practice, showed some of his best speed in this race. He was up there.
Finished 11th, I think.
Finished 11th, one of his best finishes.
So he's racing around the top 10. Yeah.
And he was looking good. Like, he was beating some guys, and he passed Almirola and Custer in points. And if that says anything. I think, Briscoe, like we've said before,
Is that true? Almirola only has 1 win in 10 years?
Well, he's got to win at Dega, and he's got to win at Daytona rain shortened with 43.
So that doesn't. Oh, are they? Is he maybe saying like when they sponsored the car? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was like, I don't think that sounds right at all.
So, I mean, Briscoe, I think we've said this before. Just give him some time. Maybe even like a Byron move. Like it's going to take him some years.
He looks good though.
Briscoe, he's got no practice. He's a rookie.
Well, the team is trash this year too, so you really can't put it on him.
Well,
I mean, the whole team's bad.
Where Clint Bohr used to run in that car, so we're right there at the same speed almost. But the 41 and 10, they need some damn redevelopment over there. 4-car is off, and if an off day is P6 at this point, I will freaking take it.
It is an off day though.
Kevin is not.
I think Harvick is not. Yeah, he is not what he was. This is a track, I said in the last episode, this is the time for him to step up and say, okay, I'm back. Here I am. He has 3 wins at Darlington. It's definitely a track that suits him. He did run well, but honestly, outside of a top 3 finish, I feel like for Harvick at Darlington, it's kind of like especially when you add the rest of the season, the fact that he hasn't had a win, that's when I'm like, okay, what's going on?
It is what it is. I've seen Kevin run 15th here. I've seen Kevin win here. I've seen Kevin do a bunch of stuff here. The Stewart-Haas is clearly like behind the fold. I mean, Rodney Childers has been outspoken talking about how they changed some things in inspection and they may not be getting away with some of the things they used to get away with. Whether they cheated, I don't know.
Oh, they definitely did.
But some of the arrows,
the 4-car?
What?
Yeah, dude. What? I'm pretty sure he was like the most.
The aerodynamics are kind of harder to get by with, Rodney says. So they're kind of behind the 8 ball, I think. They're not bringing the same stuff they were last year, and it's showing, and everybody's caught up. But they lost the juice. Yeah, I'm not giving up on my 4 team. As I think we're still going to get a win this year. I don't think it's going to be 9, but hey, things can change. But
this year I could see the 4 like not getting a win. I know that sounds crazy, but I don't know. I could see it. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I can envision the world where we finish the season and Harvick didn't get a win like that. I can see that happening.
I mean, it is what it is, man. I don't know what's going to happen, but I hope we get a dub. If I will say the last probably 3 or 4 races, Kevin has definitely been faster than he was the 4 races before that. I know, hell, he was fast at Atlanta. Got a flat tire. Can't help that. But it was a shitty, rough start to the season, but there's plenty of time to right the ship. Playoffs are a long way away still, and that's where the money counts. I definitely see him making the playoffs. I don't want to jinx nothing, but I think he's going to be okay. The rest of us, that's a rough situation.
He's number 7 in playoff points, so he'll make it. I mean, I don't think that's going to be
I think he's plus 117 of the cutoff. Some strategy call or something goes his way on a restart. I mean, hell, 2 more laps at Kansas, Kevin was going to win. So, if some of these races just go his way, a dub can come.
Yeah, I mean, Harvick is the next driver like in the playoffs that's going to point their way in without a win. Because obviously there's Denny Hamlin, but Harvick is the next guy down. So he's going to make the playoffs. I mean, he's going to keep getting top 10 finishes, even if he doesn't get a win.
I mean, in the last
he'll
5
definitely
years,
make the
Kevin's
playoffs.
kind of been a pretty good Dover racer. We're going Dover this weekend. So we'll get in that episode on Thursday, but don't give up on my old 4 team. An awesome stat is Kevin is the first driver to make over 1,200 starts through the NASCAR series completely. I've seen that stat today on Twitter. I guess it was Sunday was his 1,200 start NASCAR National Series start or something. And it was like, damn, I didn't even know that was a stat.
Good
like,
stat,
holy
dude.
shit, dude. I've been on this train this long. What the fuck?
I guess talking about, I'm trying to move this into the next topic. We talked about Harvick and then Hamlin. Bubba, with his driving, his rough driving with Truex. What were your thoughts of that?
We can harp on this all we want, but when are we going to see this 23 doing what we were promised to see in the offseason?
Well,
I know they got everything.
I'm pretty sure the logical NASCAR fans out there, I'm pretty sure we all saw the writing on the wall with this one. Let's be real. We've seen what Bubba can do.
Yeah, I mean, Twitter comments only go so far.
Come on,
in speed, bro.
Let's can we all just at some point acknowledge like what's happening here?
So
I think we're all aware, but I will say this on this incident. It was kind of bullshit to like when you're a lap car race the leader hard like that. But at the same time, it's like it's Truex. If you're gonna get away with it with anybody, it's gonna be Truex. That dude's never gonna do anything. He'll kind of bitch about it in the radio, and then afterwards, never do anything again. That's why Logano can do whatever he wants to him.
If you watch this race, you know what we're talking about. I think it was like coming to the end of the final stage. Bubba is racing the dog shit out of Kyle Busch and Martin Truex to stay on the lead lap. And him and Kyle Busch are battling for the lucky dog position. And Kyle kind of gets ahead of him and pulls away. They kind of go, I think, by Ryan Newman or someone else. It's Brad Keselowski. Brad Keselowski was trash. We can get there, too.
Yeah.
So Bubba is wheeling and dealing, trying to stay on the lead lap, dude. And I think this went on for like 12, 15 laps. I'm sure Nathan was heated about it. But Truex is like clearly not pushing the issue. He's just kind of way faster, biding his time. It almost like he was in a video game just chilling. Like, I'll pass him when a door opens up. But Bubba's up here like, fucking shit, trying to do everything he can to keep it off the wall and ahead of Truex. And Truex, like, bumps him a couple times, like, let's go, dude. Like, Denny Hamlin's running me down. And at one point in 4, Truex is like, all right, I'm passing you now. And he goes up, and Bubba just comes up and blocks him. And they both almost hit the wall. And it's like, dude, like, I kind of, like, I'm okay with, like, hey, man, you're fighting to stay on the lead lap. But, like,
right.
There's like a gray area where it's like, all right, man, give it up.
That was a little much. Yeah.
He's faster. And, I mean, he almost wrecks the leader, and they key up the mic on Truex, and Truex is like, 23 needs to get his head in the game, get his head straight. And it was like, dude, they're really harping Truex's mic this race.
But
I mean, it was like, dude, what the hell, Bubba? Like, come on,
if you
dude.
remember when we were at Talladega and he was leading, and do you remember him pointing that out too? How he was just throwing the sloppiest blocks.
Yeah.
And I was like, we're lucky that nobody's gotten a wreck with him yet.
Yeah.
He was throwing them all over the track. And I was like, dude, this is stage 1. Like, what are you doing? And I mentioned it then, and it reminded me a lot of that in this one, where he's just way too aggressive throwing blocks, where it's like, you're not racing for the win here. Like, you still need to finish.
I think he's lucky it was Truex and a little Toyota Camp affiliate. Like, I mean, I don't really know who I could pick out as another driver that would have maybe been a lot less patient with him. But Truex cut him a lot of breaks there.
I think, that's why I said, if you're going to do it to somebody, you could do it to Truex. He's one of the drivers. Kyle Busch probably won't let that slide. He's the type of driver that he'll turn you if you're in his way, essentially. There's certain drivers out there, Joey Logano probably would have turned you. If you're going to do it, that's my whole point. If you're going to do it, maybe it was kind of a calculated thing where he's like, I could probably get away with it with Truex. Yeah. So I'm going to fucking try it.
Well, then Truex passes him with like 3 to go, and he gets the lucky dog. So I guess he was like maybe just trying to slow down Truex so he could still get the lucky dog contention when he got lapped down. But that was the only time, and something makes him dangerous.
That's what I was going to bring up too. I think he's throwing these sloppy blocks and being way overly aggressive when there's no need to. Because I think his back's to the wall now. You know, Hamlin came out in the interview, kind of sounded a little You know, like
It's
he's gonna have to
starting
get his
look a
shit
lot
together.
more desperate. It's I think
Right, and so
we're getting into more to desperate mode.
I think that's a great point. Is like it makes him dangerous. It's kind of like what's the thing where it's like when you back like a dog up into a corner, it's gonna eventually attack you. It's
Yeah.
kind of like what Bubba's at right now. You know, he's getting pushed back to the corner. He's like, I need to make something happen here, and I think it's kind of making it dangerous for everybody else because he's getting desperate.
And that was the only time I remember seeing that 23 car the whole race. I don't remember seeing him. I don't remember where he finished. We can look it up here in a second, but it was the only time I saw him, and the only time he made his 21st P21. I think that's where he was running when he went a lap down. It seems to be where he finishes every week, around there, or a spot or two. It's a new team, new everything, getting the ball rolling, but I'm maybe less comments and more time spent on putting shit together in the wind tunnel or something. Quit hyping it up like we're bad boys.
I don't want to say I told you so. Actually, I do. I love saying I told you so. That's like what I live for. I said when this whole deal was going down, I said then this is the worst move in Bubba Wallace's career because it could end his Cup Series career because he was in a car with no expectations, right? He's a young driver that doesn't have much experience, and he's in a car that like he's not going to get booted out of. And he was bringing in a lot of sponsor dollars once, you know, all that shit went down. So he was fine. Like he was in no jeopardy, I think, of losing that ride, and no one really expects anything of it. He moved to a new team as their main star driver with a lot of hype behind it, with an owner that expects a lot out of you right away. And I was like, I mean, yeah, it's betting on yourself. If you do well, then, you know, you'll be a superstar. But I didn't see that in his like abilities, and I was kind of worried about this happening.
I think everyone, even them themselves, was expecting a furniture row 0.2 runoff.
I don't know why. I don't know why they were expecting that. That's what they were
thinking. They're getting the Gibbs Flow team deal, and they got all the sponsor money, and they're going to come out screaming. And then when we went to Daytona 500, car was fast as shit. It was one of the fastest cars there, but you had Bubba Wallace driving it.
The equipment's always pretty good. But
I think we're seeing less. I think we're seeing more drive ability and less car.
Right.
Like I think the car is probably decent. Car's probably.
Oh, I think the car's actually surprisingly good.
I'm the driver at this point.
I think the car actually, if they had a really talented, experienced driver in there, would be competing. But I think the difference between the front row furniture with Martin Truex Jr. And what we're seeing here is, I mean, Martin Truex Jr.
Yeah.
He's, you know, a top 5 driver in NASCAR. You know, like that is a top tier driver. If you put Kyle Busch in the 23 car, I guarantee you would be competing because it's Kyle fucking Busch. Like he's the best. I mean, and so you can't really expect something like that. I would say this. I'm an Austin Dillon fan. I'd say the same thing. You put Austin Dillon in that car, he's not competing for a championship because he's not Kyle Busch. Let's be real. He's not one of the best drivers out there. So I wouldn't even expect it with my favorite driver. I'd be like, we'll see what happens.
I mean, just to throw it out there, with all the hype 2311 has had, Ricky Stenhouse finished 20th, Bubba 21st, Corey LaJoie 22nd, Daniel Suarez 23rd. I mean, these guys are kind of running around each other every week, it seems. But shout out Corey LaJoie with the 22nd. That's good for them. But that's a low-budget team, you know, making strides with, like, the little bit they have and the little sponsor they have.
Well, and that's what I was saying about, you know, that's what I was saying about Bubba, is like he was on one of those teams where like the expectations are so low that if you get a top 15, you know, they're like, hey, hell yeah, dude.
Eric Jones wrecked the dog piss out of his car late, smacked the wall. He finished 18th in the 43.
Eric Jones is in no threat of losing that ride. You know what I mean? Like he'll be there forever if he wants.
At the beginning of the year, when we talked about the 2311 standards and where he should go, or like what's the bar here, I said, I think if you just beat the 43 every week, you know, you're going to be looking okay. But the 43 week in and week out is whooping the dog shit out of 2311. And to me, it's almost a flex on Bubba. Like, hey, you left us for, you know, grass isn't always greener, bud. The 43's running seems to be better than they were with Bubba.
I don't agree with that. I've said this whole time, I just don't think Bubba's that good of a driver. Daniel Suarez, we'll see. Daniel
Suarez is having his best year ever. And
we'll see with Daniel Suarez.
Better than Bubba.
I think Daniel Suarez is better than Bubba. I definitely think he's a better driver.
I'm not really a fan of either of them, but I think I'd agree with you. Daniel Suarez, I'd put my money on him over Bubba.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's a better driver. I mean, they both came up through that young stage of like those drivers with like Ryan Blaney and that whole group. I think Suarez has proven every step along the way that he's probably the better driver. Granted, he was in better equipment, than the
Almost
Bubba
like the
ever
Byron
was.
deal we talked about. Give him a couple years. Suarez got thrown in that ride, got thrown to the 41.
How many years was he in it though? He was in it for a while.
I think he was in the 19 2 or 3 years. And then he got booted to the 41 for one season, and they were like, "Get rid of this." And then they put Cole Custer in, and then he ran the 96 last year in a whatever season, and then now he's in this 99.
Yeah,
and he's literally having his best season.
He's had pretty good equipment for, I want to say, like at least 3 seasons, though.
Yeah, but I was just
to be fair.
That's like William Byron was in good equipment for 3 years, and he wasn't shit. And now all of a sudden he's emerging. I'm saying,
but I think William Byron still had better finishes on average than Suarez.
Yeah.
I bet if we put those two side by side with their first 3 years.
I've never been on the Suarez train. I mean, nothing against him, but hey, I don't like him. I don't think he's bad. He's never done anything for me. Like I'm just like
right. I don't think he's bad, but he hasn't really done anything to really impress me ever. Yeah. It's kind of just like he's not a bad driver, but he's not doing anything that I'm like, oh, that's an impressive move. I don't ever see that from Suarez. Yeah.
Another thing you mentioned earlier was RCR. Tyler Reddick to finish 12th. He ran all the way up to like second and third there for a bit. He was looking super good. I think he got some good stage points in the race, and that throwback, pink and chartreuse car, whatever they want to call it. He was looking good, dude. I mean, he was hitting the wall lap 3.
Well, that was my underdog pick.
Yeah. And he looked good. I think he got mired back and kind of lost it at the end to finish P12. But I was
he's 16th right now in point standings.
Yeah, and I mean, what was it like the second or third race? They were talking about how big a hole he was in. How's he going to climb in out of this? What's he going to do? And boom, a couple good finishes, and look where he's at.
I think he's a really talented driver. I've said that for years. I think he'll eventually prove himself. So yeah, I wouldn't count him out of being in the playoffs. I think he's a driver that'll be right kind of there.
One driver I don't even remember seeing yesterday was the 3-car of Austin Dillon.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I saw him in the pre-race, but he just was quiet, finished 16th, and got the hell out of there. I never saw him make moves.
No, he never got up.
And we were talking last episode. I was kind of expecting a little more from them.
Yeah. He finished second in Darlington. I was expecting a little bit more. I thought, especially, I thought Reddick would be good at that track, which I think he was. Yeah. But I thought them two kind of together, they would play off each other a little bit more, be good teammates, put each other up there, and it just never really happened. I don't know if Austin was just his car wasn't running well, or I don't know what it was, but he never made much moves outside that 15 range.
And, I mean, speaking of finishers, a shout out to Roush Fenway. Both cars in the top 10 late. Chris Buescher 9th, Ryan Newman 10th. Oh,
I don't think is he saying Reddick is going to win at RCR? Because I disagree.
I think he is. I think he says he's winning RCR. But
I think maybe next year. I think this year's not quite there yet. I still see Austin getting better finishes overall. Unless Reddick just pops off a couple of wins out of nowhere, I don't see him winning at RCR.
I can see him getting a win
not this year.
A Texas
not this year.
Tire call.
In the future, maybe. Yeah, I mean, he's very talented. That's the thing. It's he has a bright future.
Like we said before, is how good better could he be in some top tier equipment? What if he went to a 4-car? What if he went to a 18?
Right. He is a driver, but I think he's actually doing it right because he's getting out those couple of years of experience in mediocre equipment. I'll just put it. I think RCR is mediocre equipment. That's the best way to describe it. It's to get a win in an RCR car would be very surprising. Top 10 finish, you're like, that's great. They're right outside the top 10, I think, in equipment. So I think
he's making strides. I
think he's in fairly mediocre equipment, and I don't think he's in jeopardy of losing that seat. He's been doing well.
No. To me, he's right there with Austin, if not faster.
Yeah. I think he's right there with Austin. He's a good teammate. He's young, talented. So I think that's a really good spot for him for a couple years to really, get some good experience. Hopefully RCR by then steps their shit up. That'd be great. But if not, I mean, that's a driver you're looking at in top equipment in the next couple years as
Reddick
a guy
reminds me a lot of Kyle Larson. Will Man, if he became a free agent or on a contract year, I could see a lot of teams reaching out trying to
In a
get
couple
him.
years, yeah.
I
I
see a
say in a
lot of
couple
teams
years.
wanting
This
some
year,
Reddick
it's like
on the
he's still a little young. Still needs a little bit more experience.
I mean, I know
but
Daniel Hemrick is kind of plagued in NASCAR period,
yeah,
but he is
He's-
definitely looking a lot better than they were a couple years ago with Hemrick.
well, what with RCR?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm saying
And
the 8 car in
it's
general.
saying like
With Reddick.
how he was in Xfinity compared to now, or are you talking about Cup?
I'm
Because
talking about when Hemrick was in the 8 car and that shitty season to Reddick
well,
now
you
in the 8
can't.
car.
How Reddick's performing in the A car rather than Hemrick.
Compared to Hemrick, yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely. I think that that shows right there the quality of the driver that Reddick is compared to Hemrick. I mean, Hemrick's he's good in Xfinity. Like, nothing against Hemrick.
Yeah. He's doing the little refresh program.
He just is not good enough to do anything with that 8 car because that 8 car, there's not much there to do anything with.
I would have never signed an Xfinity driver up to Cup that didn't. I'm not gonna say Hemrick didn't prove himself. Woo! I'm not gonna say he didn't prove himself, but like he wasn't racking off wins. He had some second place finish. Yeah, he made the Final Four in his Xfinity year, but it was like I think Hemrick needed some more seasoning, and they moved him up.
I think it was like they needed somebody, and they were like, we just need to fill this seat. Yeah. I really think it was like a desperate thing where it's like we need to fill the seat, and our guy's not there yet. Like we want somebody else, but this is who we have right now, so we'll just throw him in there. Hemrick's kind of one of those guys that you could just throw in there. I was saying, there's all this rumor about. It's not even necessarily a rumor because Dale Jr. has addressed it about him possibly having a Cup ride. And I was saying, if you want to do it for like one season just to work out kinks, like, I mean, you could put Hemrick there. He has Cup Series experience. If you're trying to like wait on somebody else to kind of develop a little bit and you just want to throw out some guy with a little bit of Cup Series experience, help you work through some things, Hemrick's not a bad option. You're not going to get a top 10 finish out of him ever, but just for one season. Right. No, but just for one season to work out the kinks. If you're waiting on like Noah Gragson or something, like where you're like, we want a little bit more experience out of him.
So
you could go with Hemrick.
As we wrap up talking about all our finishers in the Darlington race yesterday, the throwback. It's not the Southern 500, but it was a little sweet taste of Darlington. A lot of hot gossip today and yesterday and last night about the package. They ran the 750 package, low downforce, and the small spoiler. And as a traditional old school fan and all my old school fan brethren, we liked what we saw. We saw slide and we saw battles all through the pack. Yeah, one guy checked out. He took off, dominated. Got to appreciate a good ass whooping. It was classic Darlington. We had a late battle for the lead at the end. That was about the only battle we saw for the lead. It was so like, oh, NASCAR. This is to a T NASCAR. But a lot of these modern day, social media video game warriors, they were saying they did not like it. They were saying, hey, this is boring as shit. I'm not going to lie. I'm bored.
I think Colt described it best on Twitter. He said anyone with an anime profile picture.
Yep.
Which for some reason he's right. I have noticed everybody.
I saw several comments where they're like, "What? I'm not gonna lie, this is boring." And I was like, "What?
And they all had anime.
Race are you watching?"
It was a weird thing. Like,
and
Colton
those
kind
of kids didn't appreciate racing. I literally screenshot. I sent it to the group message. Kid said, "Real driving doesn't mean it's good racing," or whatever the hell that kid said. And I was like, "Yeah, just read that again, buddy." Like. We saw the good racers, drivers rise to the top here, and it was freaking awesome, man. How many times they show guys just sideways off the corner, slapping the wall? I mean, it was so awesome. And then I seen kids saying, wow, the race was boring. Fast car was able to drive off and win. I mean, yeah, clearly. I love that. I'm okay with that. It was very refreshing to see. There wasn't, the cars all tight and bunched up, and they can't pass nobody because error. And this and that, it was the fast cars drove to the front, and I loved it. Darlington sliding, hitting the wall, you can't beat it. But seeing kids say that was a shitty race was almost like this is where we draw the line. Like to me, the kids that said no are the same kids that do the NASCAR fan council, and I think that's kind of a bad thing. because I guess NASCAR might even see that and see that fans are unhappy with what they saw yesterday. I have no freaking idea. But I don't know. Rattlesnake, what did you think of the race you saw yesterday?
So before I get into like my opinion of the race, I think the thing I want to address first is I think this is another one of those instances where almost no one is actually saying it was a bad race. A handful of people tweeted that they were bored. And because of that, the entire NASCAR community goes up in arms and says like, oh, everyone's calling this a bad race. Everybody says it is a bad race. I saw all the tweets.
Exaggerating.
I saw all these tweets that said like all these people are saying it's a bad race, blah, blah, blah. I was looking through so many tweets and I could find like a handful of people that said that they were bored.
I saw like 6.
And that was probably like the most. I mean, every tweet I saw that said it was a bad race was just ratioed to hell. I actually felt bad for those people because I was like, I mean, that's their opinion or whatever, but people were like commenting like, "Don't fucking watch my sport." But I was like, God damn.
Maybe it was just us rebuttaling.
Just to pull up Jeff
how dare you say this racing sucks?
Jeff Gluck's Twitter
it was popping off where people said no. Everybody was like, "Who the fuck said no?"
Right. Okay. If it was really that bad, if it was that many people saying no, like, you know, I'm expecting like 30 to 40%, 27% said no, 73% said yes. And that's a lot of the people. That's probably all of the people that didn't like it are voting on that.
I think there's some people that just hit no to hit no. I think they're just like, I'm going to fuck this up.
So I guess my point is, I don't think that many people thought this was boring. At least not as many as Twitter was making it seem, where they're like, all these people are saying they hated the race. A vast majority of people were saying how much they enjoyed the race. So I don't think we should worry too much yet. I think vast majority of people said that they really liked it.
Touche. I'll give you that one. However,
and
the
I
race
agree. I mean,
badass.
Yeah, of course. I think, like I said, I think most people agree it was badass. In fact, I was expecting more people to say they were bored. I was actually surprised. Usually in races like this, where there's not enough passing, people will get on Twitter and complain about how boring the race was. And so even with as little passing as there was, I was surprised with how little people were actually complaining.
Well, there was not many passes for the lead. I think I saw a stat. There was like 2,394 passes in the race. There was thousands of passes going on all over the track. But what we saw on TV, that's another thing, just like Atlanta, we weren't there. We're only seeing what we're being fed on TV.
Right.
There's passes and crazy shit going on all over the racetrack.
Yeah.
We're only seeing Martin Truex spank the field. And it's kind of like
4 seconds ahead of everybody else. And it's like, okay, so, I get it. He's leading. Let's see what else is happening.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of stuff that maybe they missed and didn't get to see, but
Fox Sports missed something? Wow.
Another reason I'm like, I should have been there. Before the episode came out, I reached out and said, if anybody's got any questions, I was going to reach down in the mailbag. Had a little bit about our topic we were talking about earlier, a little bit this. I had a little one here from Keith Merrick. Shout out Keith. Big Keith up. He's going to Dover this weekend up in Delaware. He's hit us with our 2021 winless slumps for Elliott, Hamlin, and Harvick concerning, or are they just a product of the season-long parity we've had with 550 horsepower? Very good question, Keith. That was
a good question.
I love how specific it was. I think just like every year, some teams caught up. We got some guys snagging some wins. We got some typical wins. Truex is starting to walk away. He's won in multiple, or those all Truex wins been 750. I think they have. That's another
interesting.
thing.
Yeah, I'd have to double check that. Yeah,
Nathan will hit us here in a second with it.
Nathan, where are you at, dude? Obviously.
I don't even know if I want to call these a slump, but these guys were top 3 guys last year, and now all of a sudden they haven't won, and everybody's scratching their head. Yeah, man, I don't know. I think even yesterday's race, like we were just talking, I think we really liked seeing that 750 horsepower, and it makes us less want to see that 550 horsepower. I know I'm on that train. I don't know. Yes.
Somebody else answered it instead of Nathan.
Nathan fell asleep. Nathan.
Yeah, no, I think that I like how he mentioned that kind of at the end of the question, because I think that actually is how I would answer that. Is we're seeing so many different drivers get wins this season, and I think it's the package. I really do. I think when we're if it's just the drivers and the best equipment out there every week, we're gonna see the same drivers. We're gonna see guys like Elliott and Harvick and Truex and Hamlin. We're going to see the same guys win, which is what I was going to mention in the last topic about this package and the 750, the 550 horsepower, the two different packages essentially, is obviously, I think most NASCAR fans will agree that that's what we want to see. But I also I can understand the argument on the other side. Like, I don't think it's insane what they're saying. I see what they're saying. It's kind of like, it reminds me of the argument for stage racing, if you remember that. All the old school people were like, nope, it's not old school, it's not traditional NASCAR. You're changing and affecting the way that we race. You're slowing us down just to get people back in packs. It reminds me of that. It's a very similar argument. And so I see what they're saying. I just think I think 750 is the way to go, because I always like higher horsepower.
Agree.
But I understand what they're saying. The people, like, I think you mentioned it, if you became a fan in like 2015 or after, that's what you want to see. And I can understand why that's what they want to see. They want to see people racing in packs. They want to see a lot of lead changes. It makes it more exciting to watch. They want to see 5 wide
restarts.
Exactly. That's what they're watching for. And I get that. It's exciting.
It's badass.
Right. It is exciting.
But it's like,
I mean, everyone's attacking these people online, and I'm reading what they're saying, and they're trying to articulate like valid points that they have about it. And I'm reading them, and I'm like, I disagree with the overall statements or argument that they're putting out, but their bullet points, I understand where they're coming from. I'm like, I get it. I do get it. They get bored when Fox Sports has Martin Truex Jr. just the entire way around. I mean, that's where it comes to, like, you have to go to the races to really experience the race, because I guarantee if you were at Darlington, that was maybe your favorite race of the whole year, because you watched it and you got to see how exciting that whole race was. Just like us at Atlanta. We really enjoyed Atlanta. Everybody else at home hated it.
Yeah, same, man. Like, that's another thing is, like, with the beginning of the race, and I know they had, like, a Bill Elliott, old school car, Wood Brothers car. Xfinity race had Dale Jr.'s Nova. Literally,
did it? I didn't see.
Fox didn't even fucking show it, man. Fox didn't show it, and I think Twitter gods ripped them apart. And it was rough. Man. And that was one thing where I was like, wow, me and Nathan were talking about this morning. I was like, dude, I literally tuned in for the pre-race for Xfinity because I was like, I want to see that car. Like, I want to see that moment where he drives it around the track. And they just, like, started the race, and I was like, they were saying, like, did Junior not make it? Did he not get the car? Did it not run? Like, what happened? They go on Twitter, and people are just like, oh, man, this car was awesome. And it's going around the track, and it's like, dude, they didn't even show it on TV. What the fuck?
Yeah, that was a big fuck up.
The
way I explained it to my dad is, like, if you were broadcasting NASCAR, there's two things that you can't miss. If it has anything to do with what's going on, you can't miss it. And that's Dale Jr. and Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah.
Those two things were at the same fucking time. You can't miss that.
That's the throwback race. The throwback
You can't miss that. That's like you could miss the Daytona 500. You can't miss Dale Jr. driving the three the three car. You can't do it for NASCAR.
That's one thing is like sin. I'm sure on Dale Jr. download this week, like he'll probably be like, hey man, it's okay. They did
literally
it's okay.
pissed.
I did it for the fans that were there, but it's like
Dale Jr. is going to be nice about
all of Junior Nation, NASCAR Nation was like they knew that moment was coming and they were looking forward to seeing it, and Fox didn't deliver.
Oh no, they're honestly that's something. They do a lot of stupid things, but that's one thing that I think they're going to get so much flack for that it's actually going to come back to like higher ups, and they're going to have to kind of address this.
Who the fuck didn't film
internally at least? Exactly. I mean, that's the type of thing I think somebody could lose their fucking job. Like seriously, I think it's going to be that bad. I think that's the worst thing I've seen Fox Sports do in a long time. Like they suck, and we all know they suck. But I think that's the worst thing I've seen Fox Sports do in a long time. Like they suck, and we all know they suck. But I think that's the worst thing I've seen Fox Sports do in a long time. Like they suck, and we all know they suck. But I think that's the worst thing I've seen Fox Sports do in a long time. Like they suck, and we all know they suck. But I think that's the worst thing I've seen Fox Sports do in a long time. Like they suck, and we all know they suck. But I think that's the worst thing I've seen Fox Sports do in a long time. Like they suck, and we all know they suck. But I think that's the worst thing I've seen Fox Sports do in a long time. Like they suck, and we all know they suck. But I think that's the worst thing I've seen Fox Sports do in a long time. Like they suck, and we all know they suck. But I think that's the worst thing I've seen Fox Sports do in a long time. Like they suck, and we all know they suck. But I think that's the worst thing I've seen Fox Sports do in that was huge to fuck that up. You know, generally on Twitter and social media, people are just like, oh, Fox Sports, they suck.
Yeah.
When that happened, it was like all out war against Fox Sports.
Yeah, I literally was like, did I miss it? Like, was it earlier?
Mm-hmm.
Like, did something happen? And I mean, I don't even like, I try, sometimes depends what I got going on. I watch pre-race stuff, but usually I'm like, what time's green flag drop? And that I was like, I watched all the pre-race and everything, and I was like, what the fuck happened, dude?
What just happened? Yeah. I think everybody was like that. What just happened in between that?
Just another reason why we should have been there.
Yeah. I mean, just another reason. It was a classic Darlington race. That's how Darlington should be run. And I think that's why like I said, I understand the argument on the other side, but at the same time, it's like that 750, that's what Darlington should run like. I mean, that's the Darlington race that NASCAR fans deserve. So
hell, Kevin won both races last year. That race right there was better than both those races last year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just totally being serious. I know Darlington's going to have the playoff race, and I'll probably kick my ass for not going to that one, but it's like...
Are you not going to go to that one?
Well, I don't know. I'm very persuaded easily, but it's the throwback race, man. Like, it's something about being at the throwback race. Everybody's kind of dressed up, having fun.
Yeah, it's going to be weird that Darlington without throwback.
It's got a whole energy to it. And I'm totally like, next year, I'm not missing that shit. I was telling Nathan and Justin, like, next year, me and you or me, I don't care what we got to do. I'm going to the throwback race.
When it came down to it for me,
vibe.
It was literally just the fact that they changed. It was always on that Labor Day weekend in September. Yeah. And it just made it very easy for me to get there because I have the work off. So that's what it came down to for me. I was like, well, I mean, is it Labor Day weekend?
Fuck,
is the second one Labor Day weekend?
It might be.
It might be because it's a playoff race.
It might be, but it's a playoff race, and it is the Southern 500.
I know that's the cool thing is the Southern 500 is the best.
I'm sure we get a wild hair in our ass. I might just get tickets and fucking run over there. It'd probably be worth it. But
yeah, that's one I think I might make.
If you're going, I'm going. So. I think throwback weekend next year, we definitely need to go ahead and pencil that one in. It looked really fucking fun.
Yeah, it did.
Short and sweet, Darlington. I mean, the Southern 500's long, but it's a crown jewel. Love to see it. Okay,
y'all got your Daytona 500 tickets?
Yeah, I've been trying to persuade you on the backstage that we doing Daytona 500 next year. And if you're going to be there, shout out to your boys. We're going to be there. We're doing the whole damn thing. It's going to be wild.
I might go.
No, you're going.
All right. Give me a ticket. I'll go.
We'll work that out.
All right. That's far enough in advance, I think.
I'll say that them bitches ain't cheap.
Oh, shit, really?
Yeah, but they have amazing payment plans.
Daytona 500 tickets? How much is a Daytona 500 weekend ticket?
For from Tuesday to Sunday?
Just the weekend. Just
the whole package is $450
for one ticket
for 6 days or 5 days of racing.
Oh, for the whole thing. Okay, yeah. That makes sense. I forgot that it's like the whole week.
Clash, qualifying, duels, truck race, Xfinity race, Cup race. I think Justin got it set up for like $450.
You're going for all that time?
No,
how are you not getting fired from work?
I'm going from Friday through Sunday.
How much is that?
I think Cup tickets are like $120, and then I think Saturday's like $80.
What?
Well, here I pay
Jesus.
I pay $20 a month, and I have my tickets.
But still, that's crazy. Talladega. I mean, is Daytona 500 better than Talladega?
It's two completely different animals.
Is it better though? I don't care. Apples and oranges are different, but I like apples better than oranges. You can still say one's better than the other.
It's like going to Super Bowl or going to Talladega. I don't know. It's Talladega.
You could still say one's better than the other just because they're different. Doesn't mean you can't
also
say one's better.
Next year, it'll be a full capacity Daytona 500 too, so that'll be fucking wild. But I think
which one's better? You know what? Actually, keep that. We're gonna next episode. For everybody listening, we're gonna do a top 5 favorite races to attend.
It's hard to describe. It's hard to describe. Man.
And then what we're gonna do is maybe a top 5 races we want to attend. So our bucket list races.
Ooh, I like that. Let's write those down.
I don't have to. I'll just remember.
Oh, you're a piece of shit.
I'm not an idiot. I'll remember that. You actually kind of look like Danny McBride from Eastbound and Down.
Dude, I'm working. I was trying to get a haircut this past weekend, but
yeah,
my girl was not working, so I'm gonna work that out next couple weeks. Got a little something coming up.
I disagree. I don't think Daytona 500 is necessarily cheaper because Nathan Wright here said $286. That's not cheaper than any other sport. I mean, I went to the World Series once. It was cheaper than that. Actually, no, I don't think it was even for a World Series ticket.
How many games did you get to go to?
One, but it's a World Series. I mean, literally
it's the Daytona 500 weekend. It's speed weeks.
Yeah,
I shouldn't even have to argue with you on this. It's speed weeks, and if you've never done a Daytona 500,
no.
Well, there you go.
I still don't know. That's a little steep.
And if you don't go, you'll be at home like I should have fucking gone.
Yeah, probably. I do that every week though. Yeah, that's nothing new for me.
We'll work it
every
out
Sunday when I'm watching the race. I'm like, damn.
We'll get that ball rolling and we'll get you down there.
I'll come. I'll bitch about it the whole time. I'll probably come.
Yeah, and you'll wake up in the morning too.
I don't know. That's a
whole nother story. That's a whole nother story for another Dega episode.
Wake up in the morning. I don't understand.
Because you like to sleep in.
Because I slept until 10 o'clock.
Dude, it was.
And I didn't sleep the whole day before.
Oh my god!
I had been awake for 48 hours, and you're gonna fucking. We stay up all night partying, and I sleep until 10 o'clock because I haven't slept in 48 hours, and then I gotta drive a full day back.
And then we're late to the race.
I didn't sleep we weren't late for the what?
Oh,
we walked in, and the fucking truck went by. Oh my god! You're gonna make that a thing? Jesus.
Oh, it's a whole thing. It is a whole.
That's
thing.
a whole thing.
That's a whole thing. Yeah,
I drove 24 hours.
Some sleep. Well, this one you can fly and I'll drive.
I drove 24 fucking hours. If I want to sleep for 6 hours, which is I think what it was,
I should have left you at the tent.
Why? We made the race.
I'm just fucking with you. Oh man, what a good episode! It's been fun. Oh, Darlington. We'll tune back in Thursday. You catch the boys getting a little rowdy for some Dover. Never been to Dover. Kind of always wanted to. Kind of never cared to. Well, it's more of like if it lined up, I would go. But it's like a whole thing flying up north.
Maybe it'll be in your bucket list races. Maybe we'll split those topics up. Maybe because those are pretty good topics. I think we'll split them up.
Top 5 races to go to, and then next week we'll do top 5 races we want to go.
So on our Thursday episode, tune in to see our top 5 favorite races to attend. Not just tracks, but like races. And then we'll do the next week after that. We'll do our top 5 bucket list races.
I love it. Shout out Yeti Coolers. Go get you one. Go get you a cup.
Yeah.
They're the
Use
best.
our link. Don't ever buy Yeti without our link, though.
If you're thinking about buying some shit Academy, just forget it. Go to online, get the link. Shout out our boys. Oh man, it's just we're getting in the thick of the season, man. The summer races, who's hot, who's not, it's getting rowdy. What another great episode of Chairgatin. It was great talking to you, Rattlesnake. Let's get it.
Can't say the same, but we'll see everybody on Thursday. Peace.